Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're going to unravel a mystery that pretty much every single one of us has experienced at some point. I want you to picture this. You're having a really bad day. Your heart feels heavy. Maybe you're missing someone, or life just isn't panning out the way you'd hoped. And instead of putting on some upbeat, cheerful song to boost your mood, what do? You put on the absolute saddest song you know. A song that reminds you of heartbreak. A song that literally makes your chest ache. A song that somehow makes you feel even more emotional. But you don't turn it off, do you? You play it on repeat. And miraculously, after listening, you actually feel a little lighter, a little calmer, and a whole lot more understood.
So it brings up this incredibly fascinating paradox. Why do we intentionally listen to music that makes us cry, right? At first glance, this makes absolutely no sense. I mean, human beings are biologically wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. We avoid physical pain, we naturally steer clear of emotional pain, and we avoid situations that just make us uncomfortable. So why on earth would anyone voluntarily choose to subject their ears and their mind to a piece of music that purposefully evokes sadness? Why do millions of people use sad songs as their absolute favorite go-to anthems during the hardest, most heavy-hearted moments of their lives? Why do we seek comfort in pain? Psychologists have been totally captivated by this question for decades. And the answer? Well, it reveals something deeply beautiful and fascinating about the human mind. Because when we listen to sad music, we aren't actually trying to feel worse.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our brains make a very clear, distinct psychological difference between real-life sadness and musical sadness. Think about it. When your heart breaks in real life, or you lose someone, or you're betrayed, your brain interprets that experience as a genuine threat. It's an actual danger to your emotional well-being. The pain feels overwhelming and, frankly, dangerous. But music creates a safe experience. It allows us to feel the sheer depth of sadness without the actual real-world threat. It's essentially a consequence-free environment for our feelings.
Think of it kind of like watching a massive storm through a window. When you're inside your cozy house looking out at a raging thunderstorm, you can feel its immense power. You can appreciate the sheer beauty of the lightning and the pouring rain, but you're safe. You aren't getting wet, and you're not in any actual danger. The brain understands this exact same distinction when it comes to art. Sad music gives us access to these deep, incredibly powerful emotions without exposing us to the actual storm. And that is exactly where the comfort begins.
What we're actually getting from that safe experience is something called emotional validation. One of the most isolating, terribly lonely experiences in life is believing that nobody gets what you're going through. You try to explain your pain to friends or family, and they just offer that really unhelpful advice, just think positive, or, hey, plenty of fish in the sea. It just leaves you feeling entirely misunderstood. But then you hear a song, and suddenly, a total stranger you've never even met describes exactly what you're feeling in just 3 minutes. Every single lyric sounds like it was pulled directly from your own brain. It gives you the profound experience of feeling that your emotions actually make sense, that they are real, and most importantly, that you are not broken for feeling them.
To really understand why that validation is so absolutely crucial, I want you to imagine holding a giant beach ball underwater. Think about the physical effort that takes. The longer you push that beach ball down and the deeper you try to submerge it, the harder it fights to burst right back up to the surface. Well, emotions work in the exact same way. This is the whole concept of emotional pressure. The more we try to suppress our sadness, the stronger and more explosive it tends to become.
And we spend so much of our lives actively trying to keep that beach ball underwater, don't we? We'll do practically anything to avoid sitting alone with a difficult emotion. We constantly distract ourselves. We stay incredibly busy. We scroll endlessly on our phones. We just throw ourselves into our work. But the crucial takeaway here is this: ignored emotions do not disappear. They just don't. They don't vanish because you answered another email or watched another funny video. They just wait.
And this is exactly where sad music steps in to act as a release valve. It creates a dedicated, entirely safe space where those waiting emotions can finally come to the surface. Instead of fighting the sadness, a sad song allows you to just stop resisting. You finally just let the beach ball pop up. You acknowledge the grief, and paradoxically, that acceptance is exactly what reduces your suffering. The emotion gets to move through you rather than staying trapped inside. That's why we so often feel this profound sense of relief after crying to a sad song. The tears aren't creating new pain. They are finally releasing the old pain.
But it's not just about releasing pressure. It's also about where the music actually takes us. Scientists have found that music has this extraordinary relationship with our memory. It literally activates areas of the brain that are closely connected to our autobiographical memory.
Because of this, songs effectively become emotional time machines. Sometimes when we play a sad song, we aren't even really listening to the song itself. We're listening to a memory that the song just unlocked.
Just look at where a simple melody can take us. One familiar chorus, one specific, heartbreaking lyric, and bam! Suddenly you are transported instantly through time. You're right back in high school. You're back in your very first relationship. You're sitting there in your childhood bedroom. Or perhaps most poignantly, you are back with someone who isn't here anymore. The song becomes a bridge connecting the present version of you to your past. And even when those memories are painful, they bring a deep, deep comfort. They remind you that those people, those exact experiences, and those chapters of your life were deeply real and that they absolutely mattered.
And this memory connection plays directly into how music cures loneliness. See, there is a vast difference between physical isolation, which is just being by yourself, and emotional disconnection, which is the true source of deep loneliness. You can be standing in a completely crowded room and still feel totally isolated if you feel emotionally disconnected from everyone around you. But when you play a sad song, a songwriter who is thousands of miles away, who lived a totally different life than you, is suddenly speaking your exact truth. In that moment, your loneliness just plummets. Your external circumstances haven't changed at all, but your inner experience suddenly feels shared.
This explains exactly why happy music simply does not work when we are feeling down. Imagine you are in a heartbroken, fragile emotional state, and someone aggressively blasts an upbeat confetti cannon party song. It feels entirely wrong, doesn't it? It feels so completely disconnected from your reality. Honestly, it's almost irritating. Your internal emotional state is broadcasting on one frequency and the music is demanding a completely different one. It creates massive psychological discomfort.
Sad music doesn't do that to us. Instead of forcing happiness or demanding this toxic positivity, a sad song meets you exactly where you are. It basically sits down next to you in the dark and quietly provides the exact 2 words you so desperately need to hear. I know. It matches your emotional experience perfectly. It validates you without trying to fix you.
And this is a massive reason why sensitive individuals absolutely love sad music. Highly empathetic people naturally experience emotions much more intensely. They notice subtle emotional details, they connect deeply with stories, and most importantly, they truly appreciate emotional depth. They don't view sadness purely as a negative thing that has to be avoided at all costs. To them, sadness is a beautiful, fragile, and absolutely essential part of the full human experience. Just like a sunset is beautiful precisely because it ends, some songs are beautiful because they capture the temporary reality of love and the sheer complexity of being human.
This makes sad music an incredible tool for processing grief. And grief changes us. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, a faded friendship, or a broken dream, grief demands our attention. It simply cannot be rushed. Creating playlists of sad songs actually helps us carry that grief safely. It gives us a structured way to feel the pain rather than pretending it doesn't exist, which, by the way, is the only real way to heal.
Let's move to and see how this builds into the most beautiful paradox of all. When you listen to a sad song, you rarely finish it feeling exactly the same as when you started. It facilitates a genuine transformation process. It starts with raw pain. Then, the music turns that heartbreak into art. It turns grief into melody, and finally, that art gives the pain meaning. The sadness is still there, sure, but it has completely transformed.
And so, the crucial point is this. Humans can endure extraordinary pain when they find meaning inside it. Meaning changes absolutely everything. People need a place to put their heavy emotions, and music gives them that container. This is exactly why sad music exists, and why it is beloved across literally every single generation and culture in human history.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to remember this. The next time you find yourself playing a sad song on repeat, know that you are not just making yourself miserable. What your mind is truly seeking is comfort, understanding, connection, and the permission to finally feel what you have been carrying around for far too long. Playing that song isn't a desire to stay sad. It's a profound desire to feel understood and to feel a little less alone in the world.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer today. I want to leave you with this question to reflect on, pulled straight from our source material. What sad song has helped you through a difficult time? Think about that song. Think about the specific memory it holds, and recognize the incredible healing power it brought into your life. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Keep seeking out that meaning, keep finding your connection, and I'll see you in the next explainer.